Welcome, everybody. My name's Maria, and I'm so glad that you came to hear me speak. A lot of you might be overwhelmed with some of the things I have to say. I'm more of a very direct approach with my cooking style. There's a lot of sites out there that will tell you you could have things such as maybe flax or chia and all of this type of stuff. And I would never approve that. I would never feed that to my family for a reason. But so if you get kind of overwhelmed with what I have to say, my goal for you is to change at least one thing today. And then once you accomplish that goal, you pick a new goal. Because this was not an easy lifestyle for me to achieve. It was always new goals. So that's what my goal is for you. So that's my disclosure that I had to put on the site page. So that's a picture of me when I was a little girl. And I like to start out by saying, my name's Maria, and I'm an addict. And I know you're all like, yeah, you're a keto addict, right? But that's not what I was always about. I'm a very, I have an addictive personality. You know those people that can have one chip? That's not me. You give me the chips, I'm going to eat them all. And that's how I was. I grew up overweight. I smoked. I drank a lot. I did drugs. That's just what I was very addictive to everything. So now I choose a different lifestyle. I am a keto addicted person now. And I'm a very addicted to, I changed my habits from those bad addictions to healthy addictions. I'm really into cold therapy, but I have to say I've been in Hawaii for 2 months, hence like all my tank tops, because I've been living out of a suitcase. I don't really have a lot of sweaters back here. But I'm really into cold therapy. I'm getting used to the cold again. But that's how I run usually right now. This is in Wisconsin. You can see the icicles hanging from my eyelashes. So I like to tell you about this ketogenic cooking. Don't focus on the things that you have to take out of your life. Think about all the things that you told were bad, but you can have now, right? Whenever I start talking to these strangers about what I do, you know, you're sitting on an airplane, like, so what is a ketogenic diet and stuff? And they're like, oh, so are you vegetarian? Like, no, I bow hunt and I eat a lot of butter. And they're like, huh? You know? So sometimes I really don't want to get into those conversations because it's a whole new, like it takes forever to tell these stories. But balls in motion stay in motion. So once you get on that keto track, it's easy to keep going. But sometimes it's hard to get on there. It's hard to get on that keto train. But once you're on it, don't veer off. You got to stay on it and surround yourself with people that are going to keep you on that track. So I worked at a coffee shop when I was in high school and overweight. And there was always this beautiful yoga woman that would come in, and she was lean and always in her yoga clothes. And here I was, fat and depressed, and I really didn't like myself. And I was like, wow, I wish I liked tea like that woman. I hated tea, you know, like I liked mochas, and they were all sugary and good. And like, oh, I could never give up mochas and all these scones and stuff like that. But I really, like, I still remember this woman coming in every day. I woke up early and baked all these goodies, but I wanted to be just like her. And again, this wasn't an overnight process, but I made these new goals, these baby steps. And once I accomplished one, I added a new one in. And again, you're going to do that too. But today, you know, it's a whole new life for me. So how to eat for ketosis, I have a bunch of cute photos. This is my son, Kai. And this is what he wanted for his birthday cake. And he still wants it to this day. This was his first, or his, gosh, was he 2 there? And he wanted my meatloaf cupcake with guacamole and a big cherry tomato on top. And when they came into our life, they started eating ketogenic. And I started him off on bone broth and forming his, you know, sweet tooth to be curbed to more of a savory tooth. And you can change that too. I was a huge sweet tooth. And now it's like, yeah, no thanks. You can change that. Don't say you can't, because then you're never going to accomplish that. So How do you get keto adapted? Focus on two things. You want to keep your carbs as low as possible. You want to shoot for about 30 grams or less a day. And you're like, oh my gosh, how do I do that, right? And then you want to hit your protein goal. If you keep those two things in check, then you're going to be in ketosis, okay? People often think, well, I need to get my fat percentage up and stuff like that. But you know what? We have a whole bunch of fat on our body, even a very lean person does, that's going to help you get into ketosis, okay? So we're going to focus on those two things. So yummy, good food. I'm going to tease you with all my food photos, right? Going to make you hungry. So fat, you want to eat fat to keep you satiated, okay? Don't eat fat just to get your percentage up. Again, you're going to focus on that. Like if you want to burn fat, if ketosis is for burning fat, you're going to focus on using your fat stores for energy. Don't, focus on getting a percentage up. And that's what the pie chart is about. You want to keep your carbohydrates low. Get your protein in to signal mTOR and get that muscle building going on. And then you want to eat fat to satiety. The rest of your ketosis will come from your fat stores. Again, my cinnamon snickerdoodle waffles. You would never, the secret ingredient to making this thick, it's actually hard-boiled eggs. It's so crazy how this works. I have fun experimenting with recipes. So don't forget to drink more water, adding in extra electrolytes. When you eat a high carbohydrate diet, you're going to retain water. So when you eliminate those carbohydrates, you're going to be chronically dehydrated unless you supplement with that demonized salt, right? If I tell people I eat a lot of salt, eat a lot of fat, all that, they're like, oh my gosh, what is this ketogenic diet? You're going to have heart disease. So extra salt, extra potassium, extra magnesium, that's all really important at first. Helps keep your energy up. I actually keep my, we go to brunch a lot at this place that serves awesome organic food and eggs, and I keep salt in my purse because I am a salt snob. If you get to be a salt snob like me and then you go to a restaurant and you put that, the stuff they have is like, oh, this tastes like chemicals. And not only that, you can get nice flakes on it, gives some texture. So what does a ketogenic lifestyle look like? It's not deprivation, I promise you. You've heard of a Dutch baby, right? Dutch babies are awesome, and you can make them sweet or you can make them savory like I like. I do a quiche Lorraine Dutch baby. And you think like, I'm not a cook. I do not like to cook. I'm a busy person, so I like to help you make it easier. So you know what you can do? You could throw all this stuff in the blender either the night before or the day before, and then the day you want to make it, all you have to do is grease a cast iron skillet, throw it into there, and you go take your shower while that's cooking in the oven. This makes great leftovers too. I despise when people say, I do not have time to cook. Because you know what? I am always with clients, working with clients. I'm a nutritionist. I am writing 3 books for Victory Belt as we speak. They are coming out this year, plus 2 books for Jimmy back there. I'm doing his recipes for him, and I homeschool my children, okay? I am the definition of busy, okay? But I prioritize this lifestyle. Everybody spends time watching television. Everybody's on Facebook, all this type of stuff. It is a priority, okay? Also, dessert. This is what my chocolates pâte de crème. It sounds very difficult. It is not. It is a no-bake. Okay, it's seriously simple. It's kind of like a panna cotta, and you can make everything the night before. Let it set in your fridge, and people at your dinner party thinks that you're a gourmet cook. You know, you made this pâte de crème. It's awesome, and it also makes great leftovers. And then you could tell your kids it's breakfast pudding. So here, have some pudding for breakfast, right? It's a different way of having eggs for breakfast. And then this, the end of your eating window would be maybe a soup and some mole short ribs, both of which can be made in the slow cooker. I have 3 beloved slow cookers. Sometimes you see me have a side dish, a main dish, and a dessert in one. And then when I get done with work, everything's all ready. And I have a fantastic husband. I couldn't do this without Craig. He helps clean up dinner while I prepare dinner for the next night. I have a fantastic mother. I love her to death, but I hope she's not watching. Love you, Mom. I know she's not watching. She thinks I'm a little crazy. That's okay. But she was a busy working mom, And even at the young age of 5, I could feel her anxiety when it came around dinner time. I don't know what we're having for dinner. I just don't know. I just don't know. And sometimes we would spend the time to go to Applebee's, Carside to Go, or whatever was at that time. I'm too old for that. But she would pick up dinner, and it would just be kind of like hodgepodge thrown together. Sometimes it was rice with skim milk and cinnamon sugar on it. You remember that? Super cheap and like super fast. But that helped form me as a person that I do not need more stress during the day. So I plan my meal the night before. So there's stuff in the, if I feel like something else, there's always something else we can make. But the mole short ribs and that ramen soup makes great leftovers anyway. I'll have it for lunch. It's fine. But I'm always kind of one step ahead of time. Planning ahead is the secret to success. It really is. And my kids are getting to the age now. They're starting to help with dinner or cleaning up and stuff like that. So that's their job. Then they know that they have a great meal the next night. And they're very grateful for that. But again, the slow cooker, if you don't like to cook, this is my point, is slow cookers do it for you. And now there's like Instapot, and that does it in 30 minutes for you, right? So, for example, that meal, that was the Dutch baby. You had a dessert, you had soup and the mole short ribs. Those daily totals were 103 grams of fat, 75 grams of protein, and 19 grams of carbohydrates. That would be without the dessert. And then if you had the dessert, or without the dessert, it is 1,000 calories. But you know, that meal was fantastic, right? And you're going to stay full and satiated. It's really delicious. That would be an example of a meal. It doesn't seem deprivation to me. And for example, we still do hamburger night. We did that a lot while we were in Hawaii. We got sick of fish. We were always grilling hamburgers. We do hamburgers, and I make keto bread. It's really easy. It's on my blog if you want the recipe, but I'll make extra buns, and I keep them in the freezer, so all I have to do is slice them, and we, fry them, put them on the grill to make them, fried little hamburger buns. But if you don't want to go that step, you could wrap it in lettuce, or you could do it on a grilled portobello mushroom cap. Those are just some ideas. We still have lasagna night, and you're like, lasagna? That is my kid's favorite meal. I have a simple skillet lasagna with protein noodles. It's way easier than even boiling noodles. You don't even have to do that step. And what I do is I make 4 pans of this. I put 3 of them in the freezer unbaked, and then I bake 1, and there's always extra, so we have basically 2 or 3 meals out of that. Now, what I do is I put the other 3 in the freezer, and then the days that my kids want that, I put the frozen one in a delay timer in my oven. I'm lucky enough to have one of those. And when I put a delay timer on, so it thaws, and then it turns on. When I get home, it's already bubbly and melty and stuff like that. So this is how I make it successful. I don't cook every day, but when I do sit down to make something, I'm going to make a whole crap load of it, so it's easy for some other day. And so here's my protein noodle. This is lasagna rolls, for an example. And all these recipes you can find on my blog. We still do pizza and dessert night, or ice cream night. So we'll either do a deep dish crust, which is my favorite. It's totally like 0 carbohydrate. We even have a dairy-free crust, and you could do dairy-free toppings. There's a thin crust, or you could do the fathead. Everybody's heard of the fathead dough, right? We were just making that in Hawaii because we wanted some pizza. Here they actually are making my pizzas. This was one beautiful summer day. We thought, hey, let's make about 12 pizzas. Yes, we say 12. I grew up in Medford, Wisconsin. Medford, Wisconsin is very special. Tombstone Pizza, the very first frozen pizza ever. Think about that. That is a revolution. Frozen pizzas everywhere now. And you know what's really cool about Tombstone Pizza? My dad worked at the bar where this was invented. Wow. When he was in his 20s, and his best friend who started the company said, Joe, you want in on this company? Nah. But you know what? My life would be probably totally different if he didn't do that. He's a plumber and a heater, and so yeah, that was my life. When I was in high school, I laid in-floor plumbing in the heat and all that stuff. But anyway, Yeah, it was from a bar across from a graveyard. That's why it's called Tombstone Pizza. And now look at all the frozen pizzas, right? And this is after our pizza. We go on bike rides or a walk. We do some sort of physical activity like the guy before me was talking about. And there they have their push pops. If you don't have an ice cream maker or you're like, this is all new to me, all you do is throw everything into the blender. You put it into popsicle molds or push pop molds. You put it in the freezer, and again, I have like 100 of them. So I'll fill them all up and put them in the freezer, just like you buy push pops at the grocery store. And this was an orange creamsicle, yummy. Just like the Flintstone ones that I grew up on, tastes just like that. And my kids do not feel deprived. I don't feel like I'm depriving them either. Someone called me a stick-in-the-mud mom, because I do not let my kids go to the frozen yogurt ice cream shops. First of all, they get really sick when they eat that type of stuff. They do, because they've never had sugar. On the airplane ride with them to Hawaii, I ran to the washroom, and my son Kai told the flight attendant that he was thirsty. And we make soda for them, but it's like LaCroix water, and we add a little stir to it, okay? That's their soda. And so he said, I'm thirsty, can I have soda? You know what she brought him? A Sprite. I sat back down. He threw up all over me. So here I was in throw-up clothes for an 8-hour flight. Yay! So, but she didn't know what soda meant to him. But he doesn't know what sugar is. And so call me a stick in the mud all you want. But I take care of my kids. And they're very healthy. But we also do taco bar night. We love taco bar night. And again, slow cooker heaven, right? These are fajitas made in the slow cooker. And my trick is, again, the night before when everybody else is cleaning up. I don't like cleaning up. I like to cook. So I chop all the vegetables. I have everything ready. So all I have to do is take them. They're all already in the dishes. I just take the plastic wrap off, set everything out. The slow cooker, there you go. Fill up your taco shells, and everybody's happy. This does not have to be deprivation, people. And we finish with this dessert often. These are my gummy bears. Really super good. And why do I allow treats? I spoke on the low-carb cruise a couple years ago. I will be there this year, too. Hope you can come. Yay, we're going to Alaska. But one of the doctors during the question and answer section said, why do you even allow treats? And he was kind of combative because he doesn't think I should allow any type of treats. Well, I grew up loving treats, and it's a part of life. We celebrate around food. If you think about Valentine's Day, what do you think about? Chocolate. When you think of Christmas, what do you think about? Cookies, your grandma's Christmas cookies, right? Birthdays, birthday cake, all of that. And I still really enjoy that. I love making desserts for dinner parties and things like that. And I love it when people are like, this is healthy. This is the best cheesecake ever, right? And it warms my heart to do that. And it helped me stay on the diet for over a decade. If I didn't allow those treats, I would be secretly eating that stuff behind closed doors. And it would show up on my body. It would show up on my moods. I was extremely depressed when I was younger, and I know a lot of it had to do with what I was eating. And now it's like, I like to call this the happy diet, because don't waste your time being the person you don't want to be anymore. You don't have to waste your time anymore. I don't want you to. 2 more minutes. All right, let's go. So yeah, like that was me. I don't have a lot of pictures when I was younger because I know I just destroyed them. But here I was featured in Muscle and Fitness. And we still go out to eat. So there's, I won't even get into that. But there's, plenty of things to do that. We still go to parties. First of all, when you go to a party and you're eating, do you even remember what you ate that at the party? Not really, because you're socializing and eating. Focus on socializing. Don't worry about the food there. Stay away from it. Eat really good food at home and then go to socialize. Or bring stuff like deviled eggs like this My kids love deviled eggs. I usually always bring that, and I always bring a dessert. Identify the food pushers because I have them in my own life. I can't get into the stories because of lack of time, but my mother-in-law, love her to death, she is a food pusher. Terrible at it. But we often, I'll bring my brownies, These are flourless brownies, right? Yum. And peer pressure. I've never had a problem with peer pressure. My type of peer pressure is athleticism, like jumping off cliffs and stuff like that. Then I get into it. But this, I always make like LaCroix sparkling water with some stir in it. Nobody really even asks what's in my glass because it looks like rosé or something. Baking tips, all of this type of stuff is on my blog if you want more information, but you can't, if you see a recipe for almond flour and you're like, well, I have coconut flour, that's not cup for cup, it's totally different. If you have questions, come to Facebook, I'm on there, ask me, I'll help you out with that type of stuff just because I can't get into here. Common mistakes, there's just so many. People subtracting fiber, adding too much dairy, I usually cut dairy out of people's lives. I mentioned flaxseed and chia seeds and all of that type of stuff is so estrogenic. You really need to keep that out of your life. But being a part of the Clean Plate Club, that's me. I wrote about that on Facebook last night and how I avoid that. So all of those types of stuff, I do try to always write tips and tricks. But I am running short on time. So I just want you to know that you need to simplify your life and say yes to you. Say no to somebody else. Like if somebody's asking you and you always say yes to everybody else and you don't have time to cook for yourself, tell them no. Because you know what? You're going to serve everybody else way better if you take care of yourself by cooking. You really are. Prioritize yourself and your family. And a lot of that, like they talk about mood and everything. I feel fantastic because I cook so healthy for people. And there's a whole line of doctors that are working with cooking as a form of therapy for their depressed clients. If you need more help, I do have a lot of books. Jimmy's selling them out there. Pick them up. I'll sign them for you. But otherwise, if money is an issue, I do have a lot of free recipes on my blog, that type of stuff. But I do have support groups. We do weekly Sunday meetings if you want to join us for that with exclusive recipes. We do your personal macros and help you out with that. When I say we, it's my husband and I. So we're always online. So if I'm speaking, he's answering your questions. So much more at ketoadapted.com. But I would say question and answers, but I know that we are short on time, off time. So thank you for coming, everybody.